Number 6 is talking about the volume control chamber. Okay, so with the pediatrics, we have to take special precautions. This volume control chamber is a little chamber that's going to hold an hour's worth of fluid. Well, at this facility, different facilities have different rules. So it's just going to hold an hour's worth of fluid within that chamber. And once that hour's worth of fluid runs out, you can put another hour's worth in there. So it just helps regulate and make sure that we're not getting too much fluid into these kiddos. So here we have a question that's asking us to find out how many milligrams per hour the patient's receiving, and then figure out what is our milliliter per hour that the patient's receiving. So looking through here, we have drug Y in a continuous IV infusion, 1.5 milligram per kilogram per hour. It comes 100 milligrams and 100 milliliters of normal saline. Our patient weighs 8 kilograms. The safe dosage range says we can give at a maximum 6 milligram per kilogram per hour. And then, of course, our agency policy on that volume control chamber. So typically, like I said, we always check that safe dosage range first. We said at a maximum we can give 6 milligram per kilogram per hour. Our order was for 1.5 milligram per kilogram per hour. So I think we're okay there, right? I mean, 1.5 is smaller than this maximum of 6. So we're good to go there. So let's jump in here on part A. We got to figure out milligram per hour. Okay, so that is our desired answer. We're going to stack in here milligram per hour, which means we need milligrams at the top. And in your order, they tell us that 1.5 milligram needs to happen per kilogram per hour. So we'll stack 1.5 milligram over kilogram an hour. So what else do we need? We've got milligram per hour is our desired answer. And I've got milligram an hour, but I do need to get rid of kilogram, right? So let's pull in the patient's weight of 8 kilograms, and that should drop out those units for us. So 1.5 times 8 is going to give us 12. 12 milligrams per hour. That's how much medication our patient's receiving every hour, is 12 milligrams. Now, part B wants us to calculate milliliter per hour, okay, because that's what we're going to set on the IV pump. Well, if milliliter per hour is our desired answer, we need milliliters on the top. The available did tell us that 100 milliliters is going to contain 100 milligrams of medication. So let's start there. Milliliter per hour. Available is 100 milliliters is 100 milligrams. And now we could technically go back to the order and pull up that 1.5 milligram per kilogram per hour, but then you're going to have to multiply by kilogram again and get rid of it. So let's just pull in our previous answer, 12 milligrams per hour. Okay, so that makes the milligrams cancel. You have milliliter on top, hour on bottom. So we're good to go. You multiply the top, you get 1200, divide by 100, and we get 12. 12 milliliter per hour. Now, is this always going to work out this way, that whatever our milligram per hour is the same thing as milliliter per hour? No. In this case, it did, because these numbers were the same. Okay, and typically that doesn't happen. Usually it's 100 milliliters has 5 milligrams in it, or 50 milliliters might have 10 milligrams in it. Okay, so as long as those are the same, then yes, you'll be getting the same answer. But like I said, most of the time those are different. Now, I did want to talk to you about this volume control chamber a little bit more. So what's going to happen here is the nurse is going to open the clamp on the main IV line, put in 1 hour's worth of medicated fluid, which is 12 milliliters, into that volume control device. And then we're going to shut off the clamp to the main IV line, okay, so that the only medication that can go into your patient is that 12 milliliters that you put into that volume control device. We're going to set up an alarm to sound whenever we need to refill that chamber. Okay, so that is what our agency policy was stating, is that we can only do 1 hour of fluid at a time. Okay, but let's change things up a little bit. Let's say we were able to put in 3 hours worth. Okay, so if we were allowed to do 3 hours in that volume control chamber at a time, how much would we put in for this specific patient? Well, if we got to do 12 milliliters per hour, and we need to go for 3 hours, we just need to multiply that by 3, right? So 12 times 3, we can put in 36 milliliters into that device. And again, then we would set it to alarm for 3 hours later, and we go back in and refill it.